Very pleasant. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the McCoy Tennis Complex on the campus of Brevard College. Glad you're able to join us for this one. A beautiful spring afternoon here on the campus of Brevard College. And the home opener for both the men's and women's tennis teams. Currently 66 degrees and a few clouds in the air, but mostly sunny skies. And the Tornadoes men's and women's tennis teams about to get started with their home opener, long anticipated season opener this spring, as the Tornadoes will welcome Asbury College in a non-conference matchup. So stick with us. Asbury versus Brevard coming up shortly. So moments away from the ceremonial first serve here at the McCoy Tennis Complex. Longtime supporter of Brevard College tennis, Don Lander. Will officially help us kick things off here in 2024. Really appreciate Don's support over the years. A regular at Brevard College sporting events, Tornado Club member, and you can see him at the McCoy Tennis Complex for most every home tennis match as well, where you'll see Don taking still photographs, a talented photographer as well, and appreciate all his work documenting the Tornadoes over the years. Well, his job's a little different right now. It's a ceremonial first serve to kick things off here in 2024. And there it is. An ace to kick off the 2024 season. Very nicely done by Don Lander. Great camaraderie here with the Brevard College tennis program and the community members who come out and support the Tornadoes. As the remainder of the team starting to gather now, members of the men's team. So some final instructions now from head coach Brad Jones, also volunteer assistant coach Jimmy Wynn, another institution here at the McCoy Tennis Complex, and final instructions to a talented men's and women's team. Several newcomers to this year's team that we're going to introduce to you, but also at the same time, plenty of familiar names and faces as you survey both the men's and women's side. As Tornadoes host Asbury University out of Kentucky, the Eagles. This match was originally scheduled for tomorrow and proactively rescheduled for this afternoon to avoid potential weather in the area in terms of precipitation tomorrow. But we've got a gorgeous late afternoon for tennis here at the McCoy Tennis Complex. As the final huddle there, head coach Brad Jones, some final instruction. And right there, the NATO's on 3 chant to get things going here for Brevard College tennis. Well, on the men's double side, number 1 team for the Tornadoes will be Hayden LeBlanc and Bryce Burnett. Noah Lewis and Devin Horton are the number 2 doubles team. Then number 3 doubles will be Peter Bresco and James Serchich. Both teams also fielding a number 4 doubles team. Brian Sion and David Hoyle will be battling for the Tornadoes there. On the women's side, number 1 doubles for the Tornadoes, Hannah Hirsch and Madison Bowen. Brooke Garland, the graduate student, along with Sophie Tranton, they're the number 2 doubles team. And then number 3 doubles, Jade Orr and Gracie Spangler for the Tornadoes. And just like on the men's side, a number 4 doubles matchup for the Tornadoes, Savannah Anderson and Jordan Brown. We'll let you know the Asbury side of things as well as the afternoon unfolds and the sides get organized now and ready to get things going here. Great to see these Division III student athletes ready to get after it here at Brevard College. Stick with us. Eagles and Tornadoes, men's and women's tennis, coming up next. So already getting started with their match. The number one men's doubles, that's what you're watching here on the near court, court 2. And a nice finish there by Hayden LeBlanc alongside Bryce Burnett, the number one men's doubles team for the Tornadoes, taking on Ben Moore and Andy Caceres. Burnett receiving serve here. On court number 1, which is directly next to the court you're seeing here on the near side, is number 1 doubles on the women's side of things, Hannah Hirsch and Madison Bowen for the Tornadoes. Back-to-back points there for the Eagles men's side. Hirsch and Bowen, number 1 doubles for the women, taking on Ariadna Zagara and Martina Palette. So, number 1 action, both men's and women's doubles in front of us here. And appreciate you tuning in wherever you may be checking us out from, as we're coming to you live from the McCoy Tennis Complex on the campus of Brevard College. So successful opening game for the Tornadoes team of LeBlanc and Burnett. Up now with an early advantage, 1-0 on the team of Moore and Caceres. As Coach Brad Jones congratulates Burnett. Meanwhile, still in the opening game of the contest in women's doubles on the number 1 side, Hannah Hirsch and Madison Bowen against Zagara and Pilette. Second serve coming here from LeBlanc. And successful volley there from Burnett. So opening point of this second game goes to the NATOs. Last time out for Asbury yesterday. We're at Center College. So this team's been on the road for a bit. In fact, has not had a home match so far this spring. Road trips to Covenant, Berry College, and Center College. Big winner there from LeBlanc. And LeBlanc and Burnett looking sharp early. So LeBlanc's service will continue. Receiving the serve is Ben Moore from the Eagles, freshman from Winter Park, Florida, just outside the Orlando area. And Tornadoes win the second game as well behind the LeBlanc service, up 2-0. And it'll be our first look at Ben Moore from the serving perspective. We mentioned Moore, the freshman from Winter Park, Florida. His teammate, Andre Caceres from Costa Rica. Couple updates from the other doubles action across the men's side. Good looking stroke there from Burnett. Another point for the NATOs here in number 1 doubles. One number 2 doubles, Noah Lewis and Devin Horton against Alejandro Caceres and Greg Bustangari. Lewis and Horton with a 1-0 lead. Also Bresco and Sursic with a 1-0 lead over Patino and Murillo in number 3 doubles. So on the men's side, the Tornadoes leading all 3 of their doubles matches. Bryce Burnett for the Tornadoes on this #1 men's double team, junior from Flowery Branch, Georgia. Hayden LeBlanc, his teammate, listed as a freshman athletically. He's out of Zachary, Louisiana. .30 serving 40 as the Tornadoes able to break the serve of Moore and the Eagles. And just like that, a 3-0 lead in #1 men's doubles for the Brevard College Tornadoes. So great start across the board on the men's side. We'll try to get you some updates from the women's side as well. Stick with us. Eagles and Tornadoes, men's and women's tennis from the McCoy Tennis Complex at Brevard College. As you continue watch on this near court, Bryce Burnett and Hayden LeBlanc. Burnett currently serving. Tornadoes with a 3-0 lead in #1 doubles. Women's #1 doubles in the court just beyond the court you're watching here. Court #1 is what that's considered here at the McCoy Tennis Complex. Hannah Hirsch and Madison Bowen with a 2-1 lead over Segara and Palette. Meanwhile, update from #2 doubles. The Eagles have moved ahead. Alejandro Caceres and Greg Bustangari leading the Tornadoes team of Noah Lewis and Devin Horton. Now 2-1. So breaking the action in number 1 men's doubles, now a 3-2 lead for Brevard College. So after leading 3-0, Eagles able to storm back with back-to-back games there. So back to action here in number 1 men's doubles. Now Hayden LeBlanc with the service for the Tornadoes. An exciting team, this number 1 men's doubles team this season. Burnett and LeBlanc. Worth noting, LeBlanc left-handed. So if you're a player who's not used to facing a left-handed performer, can always be a challenge. Update from the women's side. Now a 4-1 lead for the Tornadoes, team of Hannah Hirsch and Madison Bowen. Big winner there from Burnett. And Tornadoes take another game there, that time on the serve of LeBlanc. So Asbury able to continue to move up the ladder here. 4-3 on top now, so have turned the tables on LeBlanc and Burnett. Madison Bowen currently serving for the Tornadoes in number 1 women's doubles. She's teamed with Hannah Hirsch. Brooke Garland and Sophie Trantham over at number 2 women's doubles. Jade Orr and Gracie Spengler, number 3 women's doubles. Updates from number 2 men's doubles. Asbury's Casares and Bustangari leading 4-1. And then up 5-1 is Patino and Murillo on top of Peter Bresco and James Sursich for the Tornadoes. As we continue to watch Bryce Burnett and Hayden LeBlanc battle for the Tornadoes. Burnett serve now. Well, we mentioned the left-handed LeBlanc. Burnett's left-handed as well, so kind of a unique pairing there. Where the opponent has to face both players coming from the left-handed side. Another winner there for Asbury. So after a big start by the Tornadoes, the Eagles really come back strong in this one. Number 1 doubles action. Eagles able to win another game there. Stick with us. Eagles and Tornadoes, men's women's tennis at McCoy Tennis Complex on the campus of Brevard College. So we mentioned this number one men's doubles sort of change of momentum. It's been quite remarkable when you consider this. The Tornadoes were up 3-0 and now 6 consecutive games reeled off by the Eagles. And LeBlanc, after some conversations with his teammate Burnett and Coach Jimmy Wynn, now with the service, looking to stop that momentum that the Eagles have been riding for 6 consecutive games. Women's doubles, 5-2 Tornadoes on top. Hirsch and Bowen. And another update from that number one women's doubles rather. Hirsch and Bowen now ahead 6-3 as the scoreboard adjusted there. So Tornadoes trying to close in on a number one women's doubles victory. After a great return from Caceres, LeBlanc finishes things off to help his own cause. Out of Zachary, Louisiana. And an ace there from LeBlanc. And you could see the emotion from LeBlanc. Be a second serve situation here for LeBlanc. Down 30-40. And that game goes to the Eagles. So 7 consecutive games after the 3-0 start for the Eagles. So in this doubles match, backs against the wall for LeBlanc and Burnett. Ben Moore from Asbury will handle the service. The Asbury University Eagles out of the state of Kentucky, not too far from Lexington. Horse country up there in the Bluegrass State. Big serve there from Moore and a fist pump as well. And got to hand it to the Eagles' #1 men's doubles team. Didn't let a 3-0 deficit to start this match discourage them. If they've raced back with 7 straight games won. And that'll do it. The Asbury Eagles with the 8-3 win in #1 doubles. So got to hand it to Moore and Caceres coming back from that 3-0 deficit to storm back and take the 8-3 win. Stick with us. We'll bring you updates from the other courts as doubles action continues here at the McCoy Tennis Complex on the campus of Brevard College. few more updates for you here as action continues on number 1 women's doubles. Hannah Hirsch and Madison Bowen versus Ariadna Zagara and Martina Pallet. Asbury swept the doubles side on the men's side of things. 8-3 in men's number 1 doubles, 8-2 in number 2, and 8-4 in number 3 men's doubles. And then on the women's side, the Tornadoes did win number 3 women's doubles, an 8-3 victory for the team of Jade Orr and Gracie Spangler. Orr and Spangler, both newcomers this year for BC. Spangler, a freshman. Orr, a junior who transferred in from a rival of Brevard College in the USA South Conference, Greensboro College. And you can see the teammates of both the Asbury team of Zagara and Pallet, along with teammates of Hirsch and Bowen from the Brevard side, starting to gather around as most of the doubles competition has completed, with the exception of this number 1 women's doubles. Still trying to find you a score on number 2 women's doubles. And we'll have singles competition following the conclusion of doubles play. Nice point there for Hirsch and Bowen. Back here at the McCoy Tennis Complex. Season opener for the Brevard College Tornadoes men's and women's tennis teams. And glad to be joined now by James Sursage, member of that men's team. Battled in number 3 men's doubles along with his teammate Peter Bresco. Went 4-8 to the Eagles. But a tight match there. Before we get going sort of big picture, James, and what's happening now as singles gets going, tell us a little bit about your match earlier.
It's been a while since I've been on the court, but me and Peter, we have that natural chemistry, and some points just didn't go our way. The match was close, despite what the score says. A lot of the points went to deuce, so a couple points go our way, the score might be flipped. But credit to them, they're a good team. Definitely more consistent. I think as a team, we just need to work on getting the ball in play. I think we rush a lot of our shots. If we really got the points started, me and Peter really did some damage there. But it's fun to be back. Happy to be back. Wouldn't trade it for a thing.
Awesome stuff. Well, to recap that doubles action, Asbury was able to take a 3-0 advantage on the men's side, 8-3 in number 1 men's doubles. That was the match our viewers were able to witness the majority of. And then 8-2 in number 2 men's doubles. And on the women's side in doubles play, the Tornadoes with a 2-1 advantage. They won number 3 women's doubles. Jade Orr and Gracie Spengler won 8-3. And then Brooke Garland, the graduate student, along with junior Sophie Tranton, won 8-5. Tight match over in number 1 women's doubles as the team of Zagara and Palit defeat Hirsch and Bowen 8-7. That one went to a tiebreaker. 8-6 was the final score in the tiebreaker. I know you were able to catch a little bit of the women's action, James, but great to see the Tornadoes come away with 2 of the 3 victories, and the third match very tight.
Yeah, like I said, with our match, a couple points go their way. They win that match. Maddie and Hannah played a great match. First semester playing together. It's definitely an adjustment, not knowing each other. They don't have the luxury that me, Peter, the rest of the guys do. We're all veterans. We know each other. Maddie had transferred from Greensboro, coming in, taking the number 2 spot in singles. I see her every day in practice. She works hard. She earned that spot for sure. So.
Yeah, and that's who you're seeing right here on the near court as viewers look in now. This is number 2 women's singles, Madison Bowen versus Martina Palit. These two face each other in that doubles match, a tight one that went to the tiebreaker. Number 2 women's doubles, James, that win for Garland and Trantum, same old. Talking about a duo that's been together over the years. And Garland back for her graduate season, and then Trantum, such a big part of this program as well, back, of course. And then they're able to get things going today with an 8-5 win in number 2 women's doubles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's bread and butter, cookies and cream, whatever you want to call it. They stick together and they know how to win together. And seeing them develop both as teammates, players, they definitely earn every ball they hit. I've seen them work hard.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It paid off today. And then number 3 women's doubles, an 8-3 win for 2 newcomers for the Tornado program. Jade Orr, who transferred from Greensboro just like Bowen did. And then Gracie Spengler, the freshman. Impressive 8-3 win in number 3 doubles.
Oh, yeah. Super proud of both of them. Watching Jada in practice, she's grown so much as a player just within this first year that she's here. And I remember hitting with Gracie when she visited, and I knew she was going to be something special. She has the potential to climb up that ladder and take that big step. She's got all the fundamentals, and I'm excited to see how she does the rest of the season.
You're watching number 2 women's singles, Madison Bowen for the Tornadoes. Home opener here in this spring 2024 season here at Brevard College. Just how significant is that for the team, James, as far as the first chance to to play at home in front of the home crowd on the, the courts that you're so used to. Weather's just about perfect today as well. But just the idea of getting the chance to play at home for the first time, always a jolt of excitement, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, there's always some excitement whenever it's a home match. You spend the whole day just ready to go out in the court, and then it's the best feeling seeing your friends come out and support you. I love all my brothers here that come and support, and I really do appreciate everybody that watches from home, stuff like that. All the support means the world to us.
Yeah, and traveling around, seeing different college programs and so forth, it really is something special here at Brevard College, the way athletes support each other regardless of sport.
Mm-hmm.
You see student athletes from different sports.
Mm-hmm.
You're here at a tennis match, and you happen to see a men's basketball player cruising through, or someone from the football team or what have you. It's certainly a part of the culture here at Brevard.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that I love about here, is everybody knows everybody and everybody supports everybody. It's not too often, you see these people on campus, and you see them in their respective sport and how well they do, and then they have the time to come check out us. It really does mean a lot that all of the athletes support each other, and that's what makes Brevard so special and such a good home.
Well, as you continue to see Madison Bowen face off against Martina Palett right here on the near court, court number 2, on the far court from your location on your device. Hannah Hirsch and Ariana Zagara on court number 1, so women's action here at the moment. But would like to run through the singles matchups on the men's side and the lineup for the Tornadoes, James. And number 1 singles, another Tornado newcomer, Hayden LeBlanc, who's made a big statement early on in his career here at Brevard College. He's facing off against Ben Moore. The two of them saw each other during the doubles match we were able to see from this location. Tell us a little bit about Hayden LeBlanc, a rival from Louisiana.
Man, that kid is something special. Every day he continues to wow me. And I'm really happy that he's a part of this team. He's definitely a stepping stone that we need to be great. And he works hard coming in. It's hard to come in as a leader. No one knows who you are. You're not an established veteran, but he's taken that role really well. And he just works for every ball. And I hate playing with practice. He just gets every ball back, man. But yeah, no, I think it was the first week he won Player of the Week.
Indeed.
As a freshman.
Yep, USA South Conference Player of the Week.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. He helps us out so much in practice. So happy he's an addition to the team.
Yeah, a big addition there, no doubt. And as all you have to do is look at that lineup card, and you see he's the number 1 singles slot. He's playing number 1 doubles as well. So big contributions early on. His doubles partner, who's playing number 2 singles versus Ignacio Ardiles, is Bryce Burnett. And Bryce Burnett now in his junior season, and we've seen him develop since his arrival here at Brevard College, and great to see him playing on that 2 line on the single side.
Oh, yeah. Bryce is a fighter. Bryce will never give up. And he played 1 last year. He was absolute fighter, a warrior. He never gave up on a single point. He could be down 0-5 in the set. He's playing like it's love all. He fights with that aggression. I think him sliding down to 2 makes us monumentally better than we were.
Yeah, great point. When you've got a talent like Burnett in that 2 slot, you're pretty strong up top. Do want to mention LeBlanc and Burnett as I was watching them play doubles. Unless I am seeing double, James, they both are left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
that's an interesting dynamic. I'd love to hear your perspective as a tennis player who's been around for a while, just how that makes things difficult on the opponent, in singles play, playing against a left-handed player, but when you're playing against 2 lefties in a doubles match.
It's very interesting because lefty spin is completely different than a right-handed spin, and it just jams the opponent up. And when you have 2 opportunities instead of 1 to jam the opponent, it's almost like you're getting free points. Every forehand is just attack mode, and they can't do anything but give you a ball to put away. So it's extremely challenging. to play two left-handed, let alone one. You know,
Yeah, you mentioned the spins and just the angles, things are coming at you. I'm sure just kind of flip around a lot of your instincts and your thinking on the fly there. Well, back to the singles lineup card, Devin Horton in that number 3 position against Andy Caceres. Devin, another veteran here at Brevard College.
I don't think I have enough time to say all the things I want to say about Devin Horton. That man never gives up, and he is a true leader of this team. He inspires everybody to, if we're having a bad day in practice, he inspires everybody just to keep pushing. And similar to Bryce, he's just a warrior, never gives up. And it's refreshing to have someone always pick you up like that. It's hard to pick yourself up, and having a teammate like Horton changes your life. So,
Devin Horton, the senior from Hendersonville, North Carolina. You talked about his, leadership ability and what he brings to the team in that regard. But when you combine it with it being your senior season as well, James, you're also a senior. It means that much more. I know just how hungry you guys are when it comes to be your senior year. Like, hey, this is it. Here we go.
For sure, and I think I had a long talk with my teammate Peter Bresco and Devin, and they kind of lit that fire that I'm not done yet. I have more I can give, and you're right. There's just a fire about it when it's your senior season. So.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Devin Horton over at number 3 singles taking on Andy Caceres. Noah Lewis, like Burnett, a junior, part of that class out of Anderson, South Carolina, Wren High School. Certainly a factor in each of his years so far here at Brevard College. Tell our audience a little more about Noah.
Noah is the ultimate glue guy. He keeps us all together, makes us laugh. Just complete goofball, but he knows when to get serious, and he knows how to hit the ball for sure. So it's tough playing Noah because when he's on fire, I don't think anyone can stop him. So
another member of that junior class, which makes you sort of think like, wow, it's going to be an impressive senior class next year. Peter Bresco, who is your doubles teammate, he's over in number 5 singles currently.
Yes, Peter Bresco is one of the funniest dudes I know, and I'm so glad to have him as a teammate. His serves just put me in a position to win. I just got to execute, and he's such a smart kid. He listens, and he really tries to make the best play. And it's been a blast playing doubles with him. Granted, it's only been a couple practices, but I can feel the chemistry. It's there, and it's going to work out. So.
Well, and like you said today, you were able to play this match with them today, and you guys played the opponent very tough, a bunch of deuce points and so forth. Bresco, by the way, out of Fernandina Beach, Florida. So a Florida rival. And in number 6 singles, David Hoyle, another newcomer, freshman from Lincolnton, North Carolina. Great to see him getting an opportunity. He's taken on Yuri Tirado over in number 6 singles. What have you observed thus far from David Hoyle?
That man gets everything back. Ultimate backboard, and I think he's in a prime position to win at 6. You just got to get the ball back. Miss less than the opponent does at 6. It's a very basic game, but it's a hard game to play. It almost feels like you're dumbing it down to the point where it doesn't feel like proper tennis, but it's winning tennis, and that's all that really matters, because you need those types of players just to get everything back and just be a solid line at 6. So super proud of him. Watched him since the first day of the semester. Incredible kid, super smart, super kind, and he's going to be a great addition for the years to come.
Fantastic. Well, some early results here on the women's side. Looks like here in the first set, both number 1 and number 2 singles, Asbury currently up, according to the scoreboard, 5-1 over in number 1 singles, Zagara over Hirsch, and looks like a 4-1 lead here in number 2 singles. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Well, we spoke about the men's side. Let's run through the women's lineup. We mentioned Hannah Hirsch over there in the far court as you're watching from home, playing number 1 singles. Another name that so much NATO Nation's familiar with, but great presence and playing number 1 singles this afternoon.
Oh yeah, I think I said this last year. Hirsch is the ultimate competitor. She's done everything to earn that spot, and it's, how do I say this? It's a lot of fun to watch her practice. She carries herself in a way that no one else on the courts do. She's like Medusa out there. She doesn't show any emotion. It's hard to read whether she's winning or losing, and I don't think anyone else on this team has that ability to, just, me and my roommate call it goldfish. You just forget about the next point, you move on. Hirsch does that very well.
Sort of thing you see on the professional level a lot of times, players from around the world who just, don't get down or too high or too low at any given point and are very effective in this sport of tennis. As a result, Madison Bowen, we've been watching her and her singles play, the junior from Greensboro, North Carolina. Kind of exciting, transfer from a USA South Conference rival, Greensboro College, now suddenly at Brevard College. James, you're someone who transferred into Brevard as well. Tell us a little bit about that experience, being a transfer and now playing for Brevard College tennis, but also what you're noticing from Madison Bowen in that transition for her.
Yeah, when I transferred in, it was a blast, getting to know everybody. And, Brevard has a class made for transfers. And majority of Brevard's students are athletes, so you get into this class where you meet all these other athletes, and that's you make connections and stuff like that. And Coach Jones has done an amazing job bringing in everybody, treating them as family. And as for Maddie, I mean, she's an incredible player.
Yeah, great to see her on board here with the Tornadoes as she's battling now in number 2 singles. Brooke Garland, we mentioned the team of Garland and Trantham, but would be remiss not to discuss Brooke Garland as a individual, the graduate student from Canton, North Carolina. Just a tremendous student athlete on and off the court and back, taking graduate studies here at Brevard College, and what an addition there, as far as being able to get her for an extra year and, the veteran presence, the leadership that Brooke brings to this squad.
Yeah, Brooke does so much for us, and very appreciative to have her back for my senior year because it wouldn't be the same without her. Ultimate competitor, ultimate teammate, always there for one another. Too many good things to say about Brooke, for sure. Bottom line is I'm so happy she's back for a 5th year. So,
yeah, great stuff. The graduate student out of Canton, North Carolina, not too far from us here in the mountains of Western North Carolina, Brevard College. Sophie Tranton, who's the teammate of Brooke, been a part of a lot of success in these last few years as the Tornadoes have had success in USA South Conference play, and Sophie's been a big part of that. The junior from Matthews, North Carolina. Tell our audience even more about Sophie.
Sophie is an incredible player. She hits the ball like no one else does. She hits it so flat, it's almost hard to return, and she's just in a prime position to win. She plays with a certain tempo that not a lot of the other players do, and if you don't play against that, you won't know how to battle it, and I think that's why she's just a winner. She knows how to get it done, and she's a solid line there.
We mentioned Jade Orr when we were going through the doubles results, a big win for her, along with Gracie Spengler. Jade also a transfer from Greensboro College, native of Madison, North Carolina, McMichael High School. Jada, what are some of the things you're noticing from her?
She plays with so much spin. It's very hard to get it back over. She's a very smart player as well. And just having that knowledge and that experience at that line is very important. Um, she knows how to play the game right, and how to work her way into a match for sure.
Taking on Fernanda Heredia from Asbury University at the moment in number 5 singles, and number 6 singles, Gracie Spengler, part of that winning doubles teams with Jada Orr, freshman from Clinton, South Carolina, Clinton High School, already making her presence known. Gracie.
Yes, Gracie's coming back from injury, and just watching her hit the pace that she is, despite her injury, is really inspiring. Like I said before, I knew coming in that she would be great, and I'm glad to see her, getting some reps in the starting lineup, and I'm excited to watch her go up the line.
Yeah, great stuff. So we'll continue to keep an eye on the singles play happening now. As far as the team results, on the men's side, Asbury with a 3-0 lead after doubles play, and then Brevard with a 2-1 lead after doubles play on the women's side of things. Well, this is a non-conference opponent, Asbury University. They made the trip down from Kentucky. Ultimately, the conference schedule is what matters most, and positioning yourself for that conference tournament, then ultimately that conference tournament. But these non-conference matches are critically important as far as a team getting its rhythm, getting wins under their belt, and so forth. Love to hear your sort of thoughts as far as the non-conference portion of the schedule and how valuable that is for the team's big picture.
Yes, I would go as far as to make the argument that they're more important. Statistically not, but physically they are. We don't play a lot of teams that play like this. This is a very good team. They know how to hit the ball well. They know how to place it well. And, just conditioning ourselves to play at this pace allows us to elevate our play when it does come to conference matches. And I'm super excited to get conference started next week at Wesleyan. So.
Yeah, that's a great perspective, James. The quality of opponents in the non-conference slate, you see this across other sports well, can, even if you take a few L's along the way, you get your game elevated and prepared for conference play. What are some of the things you're noticing around the USA South? You've seen this conference now in action, and been to the conference tournament and so forth. Who are some of the teams to look out for this year in the conference?
The favorite is always going to be Wesleyan. That team is unbelievable. But I do know the boys over in Methodist. They're going to make some noise. They're a very good team. I heard that they picked up a couple of out-of-state players. And anything about college tennis, out-of-state players are absolutely cracked. They are, this whole team that we played were out of state, and they showed. They were very loud, and they just knew how to play the ball. Despite what you give them, you think you give the best shot you could, and they just hit it back. It's out of this world what they can do, and I think Methodist is definitely up there. Southern Virginia as well. We did have a couple close matches with them, and they are a very solid team. But I think we definitely have a chance to make some noise, especially with LeBlanc coming in, sliding everybody down, and playing these out-of-conference matches like Asbury. They're going to make us better. So.
Yeah, you're right, especially the LeBlanc factor. And as the season gets going here, I'm not sure how many of the opponents in the USA South are even aware of Hayden. He did win the award, but they haven't seen him play necessarily. So certainly brings another dynamic to the Tornadoes. You mentioned NC Wesleyan. They were number 1 in the preseason poll. Pfeiffer, number 2. Methodist, 3. Southern Virginia, 4. Brevard, 5. William P., 6. And Mary Baldwin, 7. Some great depth of the conference there. When you see a team like Brevard in the 5th spot, you know it's a strong conference on the men's side. But Pfeiffer even got a first place vote, which is sort of interesting there. But you throw all that out once you get actually going in the season, preseason polls and that kind of thing. But it's fun for us media types to talk about a bit.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, going back to conference versus non-conference, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. There's a person on the other side of the net that you want to beat, you know, and you're going to do everything you can to win. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it doesn't. But
Speaking of the preseason poll, on the women's side, NC Wesleyan, number 1, no surprise there. Methodist 2, Southern Virginia 3, Brevard 4, Pfeiffer 5, Meredith 6, Salem 7, 8th place William Peace, and 9th place Mary Baldwin. That's your preseason coaches poll in the USA South Conference. A competitive conference on the women's side as well.
oh yeah, you know, we're very fortunate to be in this conference where we can compete and just grow better and better. You know, Brevard definitely has their foot in the door. I'll say that. And I'm excited to see what Coach Jones can do in the next few years, just to grow this program like he has already.
Have you been able to catch up with any of the Brevard College tennis alumni as of late, and got any updates there?
I think so. I know Jamarcus Walker. He's doing his thing up in Richmond at Virginia Commonwealth University.
That's right, internship with the athletic department.
Yes. You know, he works with the women's basketball team. He actually got me courtside tickets over winter break, so that was awesome to be down at the court level, seeing that high level of basketball. Because I personally love the sport of basketball, and just watching it up close was something special. Because I love women's hoops. I think it's so much fun to watch.
Great to hear Jamarcus off and running with his future career in the sports business. March Madness around the corner, James. Talking about heaven for college basketball fans. It's about to really crank up, across the country. Do you have any sort of viewing habits when it comes to March Madness and college basketball as it starts to crank up?
In the past, I haven't, just because of class and tennis and stuff like that. But I do know I love my Tennessee. I don't know if they're going to take it all this year, but I like to enjoy the games because it's always entertaining. Anything can happen in March, and I think that's what's so fun about it. So,
NBA fan as well, James?
Oh, absolutely. Go Celtics.
So Celtics and Tennessee Volunteers. Probably not too many with that combo, but we got one with us right here.
I blame my roommate at my old school. So I had two other roommates. One was Tennessee, one was Kentucky, and I couldn't be the odd man out. I had to pick one. So,
well, action continuing here. Able to notice any of these scores, James, where we're at on these matches in front of us?
Yes. So both Hirsch and Bowen have gone down in the first set. I couldn't tell you what the first set scores were, but in the second set, Maddie is up 2-1, and Hirsch is down 1-2 with serve, hoping to tie it up at 2-all.
What's the challenge inherently in coming back from a 1-0 set deficit? What's the difference in terms of a player's mentality and the challenge in front of them when they're down 0-1?
I think the biggest thing is the mentality. It's only halftime. It's anything can happen in the second set. Then the third set is always just a coin toss. It's whoever wants it more. So if you can win that second set, you're fired up. You want that third one. So I think it's just mentally remembering that it's not over. It's just 1 point.
And putting that first set sort of behind you. Like, hey, just because your opponent won that first set doesn't necessarily make he or she the better player.
Absolutely. There have been plenty of matches where I've gone down first set and even the second set. But it's all about never quitting, and I think that's what this team does very well.
Well, James, tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your future plans. Graduation from Brevard College around the corner. Tell us a little bit about what you've been studying and, what are you looking to do with the degree once you're able to walk across that stage in just a couple months here?
Oh, man, it's been a journey. I do have a very good job right now, and right now the goal is to stay in the area over the summer, and maybe start of the school year next year, maybe I can have a conversation with our AD, maybe pick up an assistant coach job here because, like I said before, Coach Jones is building something special, and I definitely want to be a part of it.
Outstanding. Well, appreciate all you've contributed so far, and can't wait to see what's next for you, James. But first things first, we got spring semester on our hands, and a spring 2024 tennis season, which from the home standpoint is kicking off right now as we speak. Gorgeous day here in the mountains of western North Carolina. Currently 63 degrees, sunny skies. It's what they call a Chamber of Commerce day, here in Transylvania County. And does that energize the players a bit? Like when the weather is that good that you just are sort of feeling that happy in a lot of ways to get out there and play versus some of the conditions you have to face here at the McCoy Tennis Complex with the wind and the precipitation and the cold weather sometimes.
Yeah, it is you have to be tough to play here for sure. The weather here is so inconsistent, but on a beautiful day like this, you don't trade it for a thing. And I think that shows in all of our play. I think we're all playing very well today, just because it's a beautiful day. I think me personally, I do love playing in the cold. I don't know if that's a uncommon thing, but I find it better. I find my rhythm faster in the cold. Plus, there's a different sound when you hit the ball when it's colder. It feels like more of a pop, and it just gives me that confidence. But yeah, you said it was like 63. That's
63.
I know. It was a high of 68 today, and it was beautiful. I loved it. I almost put on sunscreen.
Well, it's one of those days too, though. It's worth mentioning because a lot of times, at least from my vantage point, James, the Brevard College Tornadoes have a home field advantage, a home court advantage of such because of the inclement weather. The Tornadoes are able to practice in some, intense conditions at times. There's wind that is often a factor, obviously makes a difference in the sport of tennis. But on a day like today, it's not like there's that variable for either team.
That's for certain. There's a slight breeze, but it's nothing to, change the trajectory of the ball or anything like that. It's just kind of a cool breeze, cool you down in between sets. Here we see Maddie going back for serve. She is up 3-2 in the second set.
So good start here in the second set. We'll see if Maddie Bowen can battle back, take this to a 3-set situation. Meanwhile, Hannah Hirsch continuing in number 1 singles against Ariadna Zagara. Zagara won the first set there, and we'll try to get you some updates from some of the other action as well.
Do have Sophie winning the first set, and she is up 1-0 in the second set.
So serve. Sophie Trenton over in number 4 singles.
Looks like Brooke's battling down there in the far court. I believe it's 4-3 Brooke in the first set.
All sorts of action throughout the McCoy Tennis Complex. Encourage fans who might be in the local area to check out the schedule on bctornadoes.com. Perhaps pick a upcoming tennis match and come on out. It's a great way to spend an afternoon. And, kind of the cool thing about a college tennis match here at the McCoy Tennis Complex, James, is, one, all the action's happening at once, both men's and women's side, because of the number of courts we have here. That's not the case at every institution. But from a spectator standpoint, it's sort of like choose your own adventure. You know, you can go any which way. You can settle in with one match for a little while if you like, or if you just want to sample every single one of them. It's so easy to get from court to court. If you were a spectator, you know, not a player like you are, how would you approach a day of tennis here at the McCoy Tennis Complex?
Oh man, that's a tough question because in singles we have 12 singles going on at one time. It's so hard to catch everything. Um, I think I'd start on the far courts because those far courts, it's tough to get people out there. All the action's happening in the center, so those far courts like 11 and 12, where Peter Bresco and Devin Horton are playing, it's hard to get attention down there. But I think I'd start down there and work my way up, and just trickle up and down, watch a couple games here and there of every court. I think it's a challenge trying to cheer everybody on, but it makes it that much better when you're the last court and everybody is watching you. Out of all the 12 courts, there's a pressure that builds, and some players live for that pressure.
Yeah, and it's something really unique, and one of the things I like most about college tennis is when both teams make their way there, and there's one last match standing, and you can just feel the energy and the cheering sections and so forth. And back to sort of the spectator experience here, it's kind of cool where you can sort of take note. All right, this is going to be a close match between these two. I'm going to spend a little time here because this is a really tight matchup. Versus if you notice it, a match might be a runaway a little bit, you may move on kind of thing. At least that's one way to approach it. Or you might just like having a favorite spot here where you're able to pull up a chair and apply a little sunscreen and hang a little. So all sorts of options here, and encourage folks to come on out to the McCoy Tennis Complex. The McCoy Tennis Complex, not just the tennis courts, but there's a clubhouse here as well that's really more of a player's lounge type of situation. There's a nice winner there from Pellet here in number 2 singles for Asbury. But the lounge that you all have here, the locker room space, I know it had sort of a makeover, a season or two ago. Really a nice little refresh. But I know that's a great resource for the Tornadoes.
Oh yeah, shout out Brooke Garland. She's done so much on that building. We're all very thankful of it. We have a lot of team events there. Like last year, we watched the Super Bowl together in there. It's just a great hangout spot before, after practice, before matches. I know a couple of us were in here an hour before the match, just relaxing, just trying to get into the zone, keep our bodies comfortable. And that was one of the largest factors when picking here was, I love the campus and, the fact that they care for their players so much to have a lounge. It meant a lot.
Yeah, and certainly can be a resource even during the match itself. Correct, James? If you needed to head in there to cool off on a especially hot day or something like that in between singles and doubles, it's there for you.
Oh, yeah, and, we have wonderful parents on the team. They spoil us with, all the food in there, and, you play a tough match, and you go in there, and there's bananas, bagels, everything there for your recovery.
One of the better points we've seen of the match right there. Great hustle from both sides.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, shout out to all of our parents here on the team. They support us so much. They do so much for us players, and it's really a family here.
Yeah, that word sums it up in so many ways, James. I've noticed the same thing about Brevard College tennis in my tenure here, and credit to everybody who chips in and who's a part of that. Appreciate all the support. We had Don Lander giving the ceremonial first serve early here today to kind of commemorate the spring 2024 home season and get things underway. Don's been a great friend of the program as well, and you can catch him taking still photographs. He's a very talented photographer who takes some gorgeous still shots of the team almost every home match without fail, and appreciate him from our standpoint in the communications sports information office. We're able to benefit from his artwork quite a bit, but I know that's important to the players as well, James.
Oh yeah, he takes amazing pictures. I always save them, send them to my family, stuff like that. They love him, so they appreciate the pictures as well. Great guy. I swear I see him everywhere. Any sporting event that's at home, he's there. He says hi to us. Overall, very genuine guy, and I'm glad he's a part of our community.
Yeah, Don Lander, appreciate all that he does for Brevard College Tornado Athletics. And you're right, you do see him around at all the sporting events, but between us, I think this is his favorite, tennis. I see him here more than anywhere, So it was great to see him with the ceremonial first serve. Kind of a cool deal. I've seen it the last couple of seasons. A great way to kick off the season.
Yeah, it's always a blast seeing him out there, showing us he still's got it. So
that's right. It's one of those, like, you don't even have to hit it in. It's always going to be in on that ceremonial first serve. It'll always be an ace.
Maddie is going up 4-3 on changeover, I believe.
So a tight second set here. And Bowen so far doing what she needs to do to force that third set. But these next few games, of course, will be critical.
Yeah, she's definitely got to hold serve here, protect it. And it just comes down to getting the ball in the court and starting the point. Just like our doubles matches, we just got to get the point started. And if she can do that, I think she has a very good chance of winning.
Just got an update. Brooke Garland won the first set over on her court. So women trying to put themselves in position for a team victory here against Asbury, a team that made their way down from Lexington, Kentucky area. As the two players trading ground strokes here.
Played the long game there, waiting for your opponent to make the mistake, give you that short ball, and you just put it away. It's tough. That was a long rally, one side's got to give.
Mm-hmm.
So,
battle of attrition often. Well, spring sports in the air here at Brevard College. If you want to come on out tomorrow, a lacrosse doubleheader at Islamel Family Field. Women's lacrosse at 1 o'clock. Men's play in the 5 o'clock hour. Baseball underway. They've got a series. By the way, if you're thinking of coming out to baseball, the Saturday matchup was moved to Sunday. It's now a doubleheader on Sunday against Berea. Expecting some significant rain on Saturday, so proactively made that change. Track and field underway. Softball. Spring sports in full bloom, and tennis right into the center of it all as well. This match was originally scheduled for tomorrow, and due to the weather forecasts and thankfully Asbury's availability, was able to reschedule it for today. As Bowen wins that point there, and a nice little reaction from the gallery here. Was that a factor at all, James, for you all in your preparation? Looking forward to the match on Friday, then it gets moved up a day to Thursday.
Yeah, it was a little, I don't want to say off-putting, but it threw us off a little bit. But we got a team that's ready to lock in when it's 24 hours before. And I think we spent the whole day just trying to get in the zone, get mentally prepared for this match. And I think we did a good job. because we knew going in that this team was going to be good. So.
And like you said, a great test for the Tornadoes. During this non-conference portion of the schedule.
We have Sophie Trantham up 3-2, second set. Trying to break serve, go up 4-2.
So some encouraging news from the Tornadoes' perspective with Tranton. Had our first singles result in a 6-1-6-0 win for Ben Moore over Hayden LeBlanc in number one singles. We saw Moore as part of that number one doubles team. Certainly a talented player and able to win number one singles. So according to our count, Asbury up 4-0 on the men's side. So we continue to watch women's action here with Madison Bowen. Down a set, but ahead here in set number 2.
Maddie fighting back. Her opponent's getting a little upset.
So
Yeah, that's always a good thing for us. You never want to get in your head. You want to, like I said before, you want to be like Hirsch, be a goldfish. Next point. I think Maddie's done a great job staying in this set and staying up.
Nice get there from Paylette of the Eagles.
It's a tough point, and that's just experience, knowing where the ball is going to be. Bowen gave her the best shot she could have hit, and, she hit it. That's a tough point by them.
Well, you mentioned the conference opener at NC Wesleyan on Saturday, March the 16th. There's one more non-conference matchup at Truett-McConnell over in Cleveland, Georgia, leading up to that NC Wesleyan match. It's also spring break coming up.
Yes, I am super excited. I have this one class. It's super taxing. Excited to get a break from it. But also,
I can't imagine that sports media and broadcasting that you need a break from.
It might be. I studied pretty hard for that midterm that we had on Tuesday. But now I'm excited to get back. We have matches Thursday, Friday. Excited to get back into the action, practicing, stuff like that.
Yeah, spring break, great chance for the students to recharge. Great for the spring sports student athletes. They're able to keep on playing their sport, but they don't have the added responsibility of class schedules and late night studying and that kind of thing. It's a great opportunity to either prepare for what's next for these teams and for these athletes, or in some cases, like the tennis teams, which is going to be playing some matches during spring break, and the case for most of the spring sports, you're able to get some quality events in as well.
For sure. The past few years we have gone to Hilton Head. We do play those teams from across the country, and they for sure make us better. We feel like a new team coming out of spring break. And like you said, it's nice to just practice, and you have the rest of the day to relax or not worry about homework or stuff like that. What's due. Um, it's very refreshing and yeah.
Number 6 singles on the men's side just received a final from that as well. Yuri Torito defeating David Hoyle 6-0, 6-1. So with that, Asbury is able to clinch the team match. But James, despite that happening, obviously, you don't let your foot off the pedal if you're playing in one of these other matches, because it's like you said, so much to gain from these non-conference matchups.
Yeah, you just learn so much about yourself and the tempo that you can play at, and I think that's why if you really push yourself in these non-conference, you're going to gain from it, and it's going to show in conference play. And I'm super proud of our guys battling. I know, despite the scores, I know those guys battled hard because that's just who they are. They're great teammates. So.
And as you mentioned, a talented Asbury team. What were some of the things you noticed out of them, which makes them so strong and I'm sure a factor in their own conference once they get to conference play?
Yeah, just the way they carried themselves and, they just hit the ball well and, yeah, they just had a swagger when they came out of the court. You can tell when you step on a court with somebody how they're going to play. And this team definitely has that factor. Super talented. I'm happy we got to play them because it's gonna make us a lot better.
So you notice, James, earlier the demeanor of Madison Bowen's opponent, Martina Paylette, and how perhaps a little bit of frustration was going to kick in, and you see sort of it's a little more of that, but also sort of a looseness when it comes to Bowen. But just as I say that, Paylette delivers with a strong ground stroke there. So that's what they call the announcer's jinx. James, you see it in basketball. You talk about a guy's free throw shooting, and then bam. But just like that, I mean, perhaps there's some players, that can channel, frustration or anger or whatever that emotion might be, and turn it into positive play. So you never know with some of these athletes.
Yeah. It does translate a little different to tennis, but you're right. There are some players that can use it. Maddie wins that point. I think Maddie's just taking her time in between points, letting her opponent think about her mistakes. That's a great tactic. Just buying time, because the more time there is, the more time to think.
This mental cat and mouse game we're witnessing here between Bowen and Paylette. Noticing anything from the Hirsch match as of late, James?
Hannah's battling over there. It's 1-4. I think they had a disagreement of the scores. I did see them standing there for a while. As Bowen fortunately was in the second set, 4-6. Put up a tough fight. Proud of her effort in the second set. I think she did amazing. Just staying in the match, keeping a positive attitude.
So, according to our scorecard here, that would tie up the team score 2-2 after the Tornadoes led in doubles 2-1 as Paylette defeats Bowen in women's number 2 singles. So, we'll turn our attention to Hirsch and Zagara over in court number 1. Meanwhile, it looks like another score has gone final. We'll see if we can ascertain that for you. Stick with us here from the McCoy Tennis Complex. So another final just coming in here. A win for the Tornadoes on the women's side. Sophie Trantham with a 6-0, 6-2 win over Michaela West over in number 4 singles. That's a great result for Trenton.
Yeah, like I said before, she just knows how to win. You know, she gets it done. She gets it done fast. Her style of play, it's hard to keep up. You know, not surprised that, you know, she finished pretty quickly. Credit to her, amazing player.
And in what's become a very tight women's team match, that puts the Tornadoes back ahead 3-2 in the team score. So back and forth we go between the Tornadoes and the Eagles. Meanwhile, we do want to keep an eye on sunlight. You know, this match started at 4 p.m. Daylight savings begins on Sunday, so we're a few days away from that extra hour that we could actually probably use this evening, but we'll see what happens. 6:32, the scheduled sunset time.
Oh, man.
Is it something you all run up against with practice quite a bit? You know,
For sure, especially you know, in the fall semester when it does get dark at 6 o'clock, it's pitch black. You know, it's hard to practice, especially like in the beginning, towards fall. Or sorry, not towards fall. In the wintertime, you know, we're out there at 4 and it's dark
as the days are getting shorter and so forth. So we'll keep an eye on that, especially with a tight women's score like we see. You know, you certainly want to let everything get settled this evening, if at all possible. I'm sure Asbury's got plans. Plus, there's the expected rain tomorrow and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think this match will come down to doubles. I think doubles is such an important part of college tennis, and I think taking that 2-1 lead is really going to help us and hopefully propel us towards a W.
Another score update. Number 5 singles, Britos versus Bresco. Britos of Asbury winning that one. On the women's side, Brooke Garland has the advantage right now over Megan Moore in number 3 singles. Other matches still happening. Number 5 singles, Jada Orr versus Fernanda Heredia. And number 6 singles, Gracie Spengler versus Courtney Kawada. This women's team competition is really becoming compelling here, James.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting finish. both these teams have a lot of depth. And I think it'll just come down to, at the end of the day, who wants it more. With the W on the line, I think that we'll pull through. I think we just need to keep fighting, keeping the ball in play.
Speaking of the W flag, a tradition here at Brevard College. I know that's an important motivator for the student athletes. James, educate our audience a little bit on this tradition.
Yeah, so we have a flag with a giant W on it, and anytime a home team wins, we have a flagpole right in the center of our complex. We wave that flag proud, and it's inspiring for that week. We did that. We won, because it's end of the day, it's hard to win college tennis.
Yeah, and it's a hat tip to the Chicago Cubs, who have had that tradition for years at Wrigley Field. So one of the more traditional, long-time sports teams in all the United States. The Tornadoes taking a little bit of Chicago Cubs, bringing it down here to North Carolina.
Yeah, Coach Jones is definitely a big MLB fan. I might get some flack for saying this, but I don't follow the MLB. I know it's good. I just can't get into it. I know Coach Jones is a fan of the Nationals. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. I know he's a Virginia Tech guy, and fun fact, big NASCAR fan.
Big NASCAR fan. I got to drive through Bristol, Tennessee, and Virginia every time I go home, and Brad's always texting me like, "Oh, like, if you passed the speedway yet?" and stuff like that. He's always watching it. Car rides home, he's listening to it on the radio. Big NASCAR guy.
Yeah, a fan of Kevin Harvick, who just retired and now is part of the broadcast booth with Fox Sports. So I was talking to Coach Jones. He's not sure what he's going to do with himself in terms of his NASCAR fandom once his driver retires. It's a kind of a real crossroads if you're a fan of NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
But what's cool about the tennis program too, James? You mentioned. Coach Jones, is you guys really get to know each other as people and as personalities and so forth. And, we could probably go through the list and you could name the favorite sports team for all your teammates and that kind of thing. So it's cool that you guys get to know each other away from the court as well.
Yeah, we have a great group of individuals, closely knit. We'll go to war for each other. And that's what makes this program so great. I think it's very unique that we have such a close family with both the men and women's team. It's not two separate teams. We're one team. We're the Brevard College tennis team.
Yeah, that goes a long way. And does it even go so far as training together sometimes, mixing up the players and being able to maybe get a couple different looks from if a player from the men's side is playing a woman's player and so forth?
Yes, for sure. I remember in the beginning of last semester, we would just go out and hit on the weekends and just mix doubles. Everyone gets to learn something. We get to try something. And everyone can play at everybody's pace. So.
Worth noting, too, that several additional matches happening today. It's one of these matchups with Asbury, and again, thanks to the McCoy Tennis Complex and the number of courts here that we saw an additional doubles match on each side. These get counted as exhibitions, but there's the same thing going on the single side, including a match we're now seeing now on court number 2.
Yeah, I love having 12 courts. It's amazing having everybody play. I think right now we're just fighting daylight, to get matches on, because we don't have that much time left before it gets too dark. And unfortunately, we don't have lights, so it's a little difficult to play after dark. So.
Yeah, we're seeing Savannah Anderson at the moment in her exhibition match against Mallory Watkins. So valuable opportunity for a player like Savannah to get this kind of action in against an opponent from Asbury.
Yeah, super energetic. Loves to learn. That's one thing that I've noticed about her. She's always wanting to learn something new, and she's always putting her best foot forward, 110% effort. Props to her as a player and a person. She really wants to get better. So it's amazing to see her get out here and play a top team like this and hold her own.
Yeah, great point
Nice
there.
volley there.
Very nicely done indeed. Savannah Anderson, great to see her in action. Looks like Bryce Burnett still going strong over in his matchup. Keeping a particular eye on these remaining women's matches as well, as we're fighting daylight a bit in a close team competition between the Eagles and the Tornadoes on the women's side.
Yeah, it looks like Hirsch did lose the second set, 1-6. Unfortunate there, but Hannah's a warrior. She'll bounce back. She'll learn from it. She records all of her matches and really studies the film.
So by my count, Tornadoes led 2-1 at the end of doubles play. They got the win from Trantham to give them a third win, but then 2 wins for the women's Eagles, number 1 and number 2 singles. That knots us up at 3 wins apiece between these two teams, with Garland, Orr, and Spengler still in action for the Tornadoes.
Yeah, and it looks like Garland is up maybe 4-3 in that second set. Fighting for a break here, maybe make it 5-3 so she can hold for match.
Some more scores coming in. Over in number 3 singles, Andy Caceres defeats Devin Horton 6-0, 6-2. And the compelling women's team matchup continues to evolve. 3 matches still happening. Over in number 3 singles, Brooke Garland versus Megan Moore. Garland won the first set. I know you were able to observe some things. What's happening now in that match?
Yeah, she's fighting for a big break here. She's up 4-3, hoping to to serve it out. Looks like she is serving, so I'm not exactly sure what happened at the end of that game. I wasn't able to catch it, but we have Jada Orr down 2-5 in the second set as well, with Gracie Spangler fighting in that second set, down 2-3. You know, all the matches very much alive. It's not over till you shake hands.
Yep, Jada Orr in that number 5 singles slot against Fernanda Heredia. Heredia won the first set. And Spangler at number 6 singles against Courtney Kawada. Kawada won the first set. 3 matches remaining. First team to win 2 of those 3 matches clinches the team victory as the sun begins to set behind the mountains of western North Carolina, Pisgah National Forest nearby, and the sun's starting to creep back behind that. We're starting to see some clouds and temperatures starting to drop a little bit too. This is probably where we're heading in terms of the weather tomorrow that was anticipated, and therefore the match moved to today. But always compelling in a college tennis match when you're getting to this juncture and there's just a couple matches left, but the result hangs in the balance.
It's very exciting. I always love those kind of matches where you're just on the fence going crazy for your teammate. You know, every point they're fighting, you're fighting. It's definitely an excitement. Like we said earlier, that pressure when you're the last court.
Meanwhile, on this near court, watching a exhibition matchup number 7 singles with Savannah Anderson representing the Tornadoes. Home opener. Glad you're able to stick with us for this one. Women's team so far this year had a win over Johnson and Wales back on February the 17th, and a few days later fell to former USA South Conference opponent Piedmont. So in this spring season, 1-1, 1-2 rather, for if you include the fall matches. Also, Truett McConnell coming up on Friday, March the 15th, and then USA South Conference play for the men as well. Again, started versus NC Wesleyan. Then we're in conference play from that point forward. As Garland continues to battle over in number 3 singles.
Looks like she's dropped 5-6. Fighting to force that second set tiebreaker, which they'll play to 7 points. Of course, won by 2.
Down 5-6 and receiving the serve here is Brooke Garland on a far court compared to our broadcast location, but thanks to the eagle eye of our analyst, James Sursage, able to see what's happening here.
Yeah, I think it's just very important for her to just to start the point, get that serve back. You know, can't have your opponent serve her way into that tiebreaker or that third set, which I'd imagine for time purposes they'd play a tiebreaker as opposed to normally playing out the third set.
Yeah, that's an option, correct? When there's a time purpose, you know, such as sunlight or perhaps incoming weather and that kind of thing, that determination can be made that, hey, tied 1 set apiece, but instead of playing the full 3 sets, we'll just go to a tiebreaker?
Yeah, and, you know, we practice tiebreakers a lot in practice because there's just so much pressure there. You know, not only is it a time thing, it's a mental thing, you know, as opposed to playing games and working your way into games. You got to work your way into just 7 points. You just have to win 7 points, and it's challenging to establish a rhythm and a tiebreaker because it's a different energy.
Sure. Just rapid fire happens so quickly. Gracie Spangler receiving some instruction from volunteer assistant coach Jimmy Wynn. Institution here at Brevard College Tennis, Coach Wynn.
Man, where do I start? Genuine guy. Loved having Jimmy around. Amazing coach. Really tells us what we need to work on, and he tells it to us straight. He knows who can really take the criticism, and just overall very, very important to this program.
Incredible knowledge of the game, knows the history of the game so well, has brushed shoulders with all sorts of greats over the years, big names in professional tennis and so forth, and he's able to bring a lot of that experience to the team.
Yeah, it feels like Jimmy has a story for every situation. For example, today, me and my roommate Devin, we were walking to our class. Jimmy drives by, says hi to us. My roommate's wearing an AC/DC shirt. Jimmy tells us that his son goes fishing with one of the band members' son.
Why am I not surprised?
It's just such a small world. He just knows everybody. You'd think he would know George Washington.
Appreciate all his efforts to making this program better. Coach Jimmy Wynn and head coach Brad Jones. As you mentioned, Coach Jones has been doing a great job building the program since his arrival. Tell us a little bit about Coach Jones and what he's like as a coach and a mentor to student athletes on both the men's and women's side.
He is amazing. I wouldn't trade him for the world. Easily the best coach I've had. He's always there for us, and it's not even tennis related. Just in life, he's always there for us. Knows how to talk to us. He brought me in, treated me like family. Too many good things to say about him as well. Just really important to this program, and what he's done to build this program is monumental. In just a short year, I think this is his 4th year, if I'm not mistaken. 2 conference tournament appearances. In his 2nd year, he's got a conference appearance. I think that's very important, and hopefully we can make it a three-peat.
Year number 5 now for Coach Jones. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Once you hit that 5th year, you're really starting to lay down some roots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what's always interesting there, too, when a coach gets to, year 4 or 5, that sort of neighborhood, is, he's recruited. He's been with all the roster since they've arrived at Brevard College. And you hear coaches talk about that across all sports, how that's so meaningful to have your guys, your gals, who you've been with since the beginning. And that means a lot for the players as well.
Yeah, he definitely recruited the right people. We have this culture. We carry ourselves in the right way. War of attrition there.
Yeah, nice point there with Savannah Anderson getting it done. And you can see the competitive nature of Savannah. Felt good to win that point there.
She goes up 3-2 on changeover. That's huge. It doesn't matter what line she's playing, who she's playing. she's always going to carry herself the same way, and that's really inspiring. It doesn't matter what the score is; she's always moving. Sometimes it's hard to keep yourself up, but she does it. Super inspiring.
Have some more updates for you here at Brevard College. Number 6 singles goes to Asbury as Courtney Kawada defeats Gracie Spangler. That puts Asbury up 4-3 with just 2 matches remaining. So just 1 match away from clinching the women's team victory is Asbury. Jada Orr and Fernanda Heredia in the second set. Orr's down there, so she's trying to hang on and keep that one alive. Meanwhile, Garland and Moore, women's singles number 3, has gone to a third set tiebreaker. As you mentioned, that's makes sense considering the daylight situation we're running up against. Also, update on the men's side, Noah Lewis in one of those third set tiebreakers as well. What are some of the things you're noticing here down the stretch here, James?
Yeah, so unfortunately Noah did lose that second set, but Bryce Burnett has come back, forced a third set tiebreaker.
Okay, Burnett with the third set tiebreaker.
Yes. Last I heard he was up 1-0, but unfortunately don't have the angle to watch that, but I know it's going to be a good match. Garland's fighting in that tiebreak, trying to force that W, squeeze out that last match.
As we battle daylight here, did get another final score from the women's side. Jada Orr falls to Fernanda Heredia. So Asbury clinches the women's team victory. Brooke Garland on a far court in a tiebreaker against Megan Moore, and also a tiebreaker for Bryce Burnett and Ignacio Ardiles happening on the men's side. Well, James, really glad you're able to join us for this season opener for the Brevard College tennis teams. An exciting day of tennis versus Asbury. And, yeah, best of luck throughout the season, James. Great to have you on the show.
Appreciate it, Phil. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, I know James wants to get over to that tiebreaker action. We'll let him go. We also are going to be signing off momentarily here as we're fighting some daylight here at Brevard College. But from a team perspective, Asbury wins on the men's side and is able to clinch the women's victory 5-3 with a couple matches still happening here at the McCoy Tennis Complex. Go to bctornadoes.com and also BC Tornadoes on social media to see all the final news and scores from this one. For all of us at Brevard College, thanks for supporting Brevard College men's and women's tennis. Go Tornadoes.